Okay, so yesterday I decided to rewatch the entirety of Torchwood Miracle Day, and basically this video is just going to be my thoughts on rewatching it. Now, I've got to be honest here, I say rewatching, this is actually the first time I have seen the entirety of Miracle Day all the way through. And the reason is, on its initial broadcast back in 2011, I watched episode 1 and then stopped watching episode 2 and then managed to catch episode 4 and then just completely lost interest on it. I was only 12 at the time and I'd only seen a few episodes of Torchwood here and there. I hadn't seen every single episode. But back in 2017, I did a marathon watching every single episode of Torchwood ever until I got to Miracle Day. I got to episode 2 again and then stopped again because, oh god. So, yeah, this time I did manage to watch it all the way through. And let me just give my thoughts on this briefly. So, the main problem is with Miracle Day. I found Miracle Day is not the worst thing ever. Alright? It's not horrible by any means. But the problem with it is it's far, far too long. Like, literally, it needed to be half of its length. And B, also, you can immediately tell that this was a British-American collaboration. And most of the writers working on this were American writers who hadn't written for Torchwood before. Because the way these episodes play out, for the most part, it does feel like American television, in the sense that basically it takes forever for anything to happen because they've got to spread it over so many episodes. I mean, for those who watch, other American shows where they've got to spread out a narrative over bloody 22 episodes or whatever, will know exactly what I'm talking about, where basically they just kind of really just drip feeding your stuff about the story and to make it spread out. And this is only 10 episodes. Basically, what I think that's it. This is essentially like 5, maybe 6 episodes worth of material stretched out to 10. And each episode, is 55 minutes long on average. 55 minutes. And that is just too long. When I was done watching each of these episodes, it literally felt like I'd watched an entire season's worth of stuff afterwards. Because it just went on and on and on and on. And to be honest, they even make a joke in this saying that, it's only Torchwood in name. It's not actually Torchwood anymore. Yeah, they actually acknowledge this. And yeah, it doesn't feel like Torchwood. I mean, do you remember when Torchwood, what was Secret and Beyond the Police, and that they would be tracking down alien activity and so on and so forth? Yeah. This does not really feel like that. This feels like a spin-off of Torchwood more than anything else. It doesn't actually feel like Torchwood itself. It feels like a spin-off of a spin-off. Because essentially the only, connections really we got to Torchwood is Captain Jack and Gwen. That is literally it for this. And I think another problem with it is it's clearly piggybacking off Children of the Earth and doing a lot of similar things to Children of the Earth. For example, and I'm going to go into spoilers here, but whatever, this thing is nearly a decade old anyway. So, Children of the Earth, we have a government that becomes authoritarian and decides that it's owing to sacrifice the lives of so many children to save the lives of a majority. In this, since no one can die, the ones who are basically brain dead or unconscious, they're going to cremate them alive. They're basically going to burn them down to ashes. And this has been forced upon the government, being again very authoritarian. In that, basically, everyone, since no one can die in Torchwood A Miracle Day, apart from Jack and one other character, but we'll get on to him later. Basically, the government separates people into 3 and eventually 4 categories. So, category 1 people are people who are basically unconscious, they're essentially dead but still technically alive. And if you're category 1, then you're essentially just incinerated. If you're category 2, that means, you're still conscious, able to talk, you're essentially healing. So you'll be given, basically, medical treatment and stuff. And if you're category 3, that's essentially, you're just regular human being. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not dying or anything like that. Or, the effects of dying. And there's also, later on, there's a category 0, which basically means that prisoners who, were given death sentences and that, they are also incinerated. So the problem I have with it is, not the problem, so the problem with that system is that in one of the episodes it's shown that it's down to the doctors and nurses to judge whether someone is actually, a category 1 or a category 2, where they essentially go to these death camps, essentially. And the problem is that some people who are judged a category 1 should actually be a category 2. And basically it's just down to the individual to decide whether they're category 1 or 2. And to be honest, that's kind of similar to how, not so much the action, but it's kind of similar to how the police work when it comes to hate crime, which is the police. Stupid, because on basically what someone says is judged whether it's hate crime or not, and that's immediately just judged by, like, the individual officer who is dealing with the situation, or what they thought you meant you said, in that kind of way. A lot of this stuff is kind of relevant today, particularly right now, at the time of recording this video, for obvious reasons. So I do like that kind of aspect to it. The problem is this, it's the 2 episodes in this that are written and co-written by Russell T Davies, essentially the opening episode and the finale, those feel the most like Torchwood episodes. And the reason is essentially because, well, we got Russell T Davies writing it, and the rest of the season or series, I don't know, it's American, British collaboration, whatever you want to call it. There's just, it's more like a very political sort of drama thing happening, for the most part. I mean, it's not Torchwood fighting an alien, menace or anything like that. The villains in this, Miracle Day, I mean, they kind, for the most part, when you're watching it, you think, is it an alien presence behind it? And no, it's not. The villains in this are human beings. Excuse me. They are not aliens in this. The villains are human beings, and the reason why everyone on Earth is now immortal and Jack is mortal is because of them. Now, how they did this. It's not. They even say it's not technically alien. Just to spoil it. Essentially, there's this channel flowing through the Earth called the Bliss, and essentially it's a massive sort of tunnelway that goes from the I can't remember what two countries it was. One's in China and the other's in somewhere else. But basically they're on polar opposites. And essentially what they did is they fed the Bliss Jack's blood, and this essentially reversed the effects. So everyone on Earth cannot die who's human, and Jack is the only human being left who can actually die. The problem is that also people don't heal. Yeah, that's another problem. People don't heal, they just can't die. Which is not the same as what Jack can do. Jack can heal. So it's just like, not really sure about this one. I should also talk about, obviously, our new, companion or protagonist in this, which is Rex. So Rex is a character who works for I think it's the CIA? It's either the CIA or FBI. I think it's the CIA. And not the Celestial Intervention Agency, the other CIA, the American CIA. And in the first episode, basically, he has an accident in his car where some scaffolding poles, I think they are, from a truck in front fall out, and one of them hits him right through the heart. And obviously, he should have died. But obviously, since it's Miracle Gay, he doesn't. And for some reason, the people behind this, in order to draw Jack out, they sent the CIA just one word, Torchwood. Which is, made to bring Jack out. Because they want to kill Jack to ensure that the Miracle Day cannot be reversed, because it can only be reversed with Jack's mortal blood. So they want to bring him out and kill him. And it's just like, wait, what? He probably would have been brought out anyway. But B, it's just like, what? Why? And also, the problem with this is, it kind of feels a little bit like classic Doctor Who in a way, because there's a lot of going from place to place and then back to place to place. It's kind of like we're here, oh, now we're trapped, oh, we're here, now we're trapped, now we're back here, now we're there, now we're back here again. There is a lot of back and forth in this. There's a lot of, for example, Gwen goes back and forth to the UK, here in America, quite a few times during the story, and it's just a bit, I mean, I know it's to see our family, but even so, though, there's a lot of back and forthing in the story of, we'll go here and then we'll go there. Rex, I do like as a character. I do like him as a character. He is enjoyable to watch. And I think he makes a good and, new perspective on things, because he is, very much used to a sort of life, but not used to Torchwood life, which is very different to what he's used to. But yeah, talking about them, the rest of the characters, the thing is, I could literally be here forever and a day, because that's another problem. There are so many characters in this. So many characters, and they're not like side characters, like so many main characters, like introduced, like each episode has a guest star. And the guest star is like one of the main characters for that episode, only for them to be killed. Well, they can't be killed, but, taken care of or become a Category 1 by the end of the episode or a few episodes later. And the problem is, I can't really remember most of them. I mean, one of the ones is a woman who is, campaigning for a slogan, "Death is Death," where basically people who are supposed to be dead, who ordinarily be dead, should be treated as lesser people and treated as dead people. And her herself is later on crushed in a car. And that was one of the few things I remember about originally watching this, is you get a zooming shot through this crushed car and you just see her eyeball in the car. Yeah. Which, it's doesn't look as good as it initially did due to the CGI aging of it, but still not bad. I will say about this is that I know there is a lot of pointless stuff that happens, particularly in the later half. For example, there's an entire half of the majority of one of the episodes is a flashback episode to, I think it's 1927 or 1928, one of the two, where Jack first comes to America and he meets this Italian man, and it's about them sort of having a relationship and acting. You think that, it's gonna be important, and he meets him in present day as an old man, but he's, unconscious, he's in a bed, and he then becomes the only other man to die, and you think this is going to be important to the plot. It's not. It's not important to the plot. You could take that scenario out and it would be completely irrelevant. The only relevant thing in that entire flashback sequence is literally about a minute or so where you see a family make a deal to buy Jack, to buy him, and to presumably use him for his immortality, to try and discover his immortality. That is the only relevant thing. But the thing is, that could even be cut out as well. There's a lot of stuff in this that just feels utterly pointless, and it's just done to pad out the runtime. Stuff like that is literally just to pad out this runtime, which just feels like this needed something else. This needed something else. To be honest, I think this either should have been cut down to 5 or 6 episodes, or if not that, it needed another element. It needed something else. Because this story, by the end, you're just thinking, Jesus Christ, this is still going on. This is still going on. And it's just going fucking nowhere. It's just going at a bloody snail's rate. And also, so basically, let's talk about the ending. Okay. So, in order for things to be switched back, Jack's blood needs to be inserted into the bliss at both ends at the same time. And the way they trick the villains is that Rex is given a transfusion of Jack's blood in order to hide his blood inside of him, so that basically both ends are going, and as a result, things are reversed and everyone obviously dies. Rex manages to survive this, and it's revealed that Rex, at the end, the cliffhanger ending to Torchwood as a whole, as a TV series anyway, because obviously it continues in Big Finish, is that Rex now has the ability to not dying self-heal, just like Jack does. And that is your cliffhanger ending. And clearly they plan to do more with this, but obviously that never occurred, unfortunately. Now, we did get a 5th series on Big Finish. I have not listened to it. And unfortunately, it just seems to be the thing that now with Torchwood that they can't just do individual stories anymore. They have to do like a massive series arc-long story that's one big massive thing. And to me, it worked for Children of Earth, but Children of Earth I don't really see as a big, massive, long series. Because one, it's only a 5 episodes. It's essentially a 5-parter. I mean, Series 2 had a 3-parter. And, also a 2-part. Series 1 had a 2-parter. And Series 2 also had a bit of an overarching story as well. And I just really wish, if Torchwood ever does get another television series, that we could actually go back to that, have that. I mean, it's kind of like what South Park did. South Park, if you remember, season 19 and 20, they decided to go serialized, where it was one big long story, and that can work for one series or one season, but then if your show is known for its doing individual stories, it can't really work forever. And in this case, it just doesn't, because there's just not enough plot for an entire 10-episode run. So overall, what do I think of Torchwood Miracle D? Do I think it's the worst thing in the history of anything? Is it the worst, series of a Doctor Who spin-off? For one, no. Have you watched Class? So, no, I don't think it's the worst. But it is obviously the weakest series of Torchwood. It is. For the most part, it doesn't feel like Torchwood. It feels like a spin-off of Torchwood. Is it bad? Yes. Can it be boring? Yes. But should you never ever, watch it if you, just heard that it's bad and everything? No, I would say give it a watch, but you have to be persistent with it. Because this thing, it takes forever to get going. And even when it gets going, it's going at a snail's rate. So yeah, that's what I'd say on that. So, and you can watch it now. It's on BBC iPlayer. That's how I watched it. Because I don't own a copy of Miracle Day. Because every time I did try to watch it, I could never get bloody through it. And this time, literally, if it wasn't for the current situation, I would have not watched this. I will admit, I will have not watched this. I will have gotten bored, essentially, and just tuned out, because it does take forever to get going. So yeah, if you are going to watch it, you do have to be persistent, because it does take a while. But anyway, that's it for this video. If there's any other thoughts on rewatching videos that you'd like me to do, or thoughts on watching, then let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you whenever. Bye bye.